The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. The NAB Show, due to take place in Las Vegas in mid-October, has been cancelled for a second year after a number of major exhibitors pulled out because of the ongoing pandemic. The exhibition was to have a podcasting section and attracted 91,000 people in 2019. Nielsen has just released their Podcasting Today report. It says that almost half of US monthly podcast listeners are light users, listening less than once a week. They're the segment fueling continued audience growth. It says that comedy is the top podcast genre for almost every age group, apart from people aged 55 plus who prefer news. The report's free to download. You'll find a link in our show notes and our newsletter today. Attribution company Podsights is adding attribution for ads in streaming radio and music services, as well as podcast ads. The company pulled its contract from AdvertiseCast last month. Live by Live, which bought Podcast One in July last year, is to rebrand as Live One. The company's music service, Slacker, is now to be known as Slacker One. They'll spin out their PPV company, now called PPV One, as a separate entity. The one comes from Norm Patiz's Podcast One. He was also the founder of Westwood One. American Public Media have unveiled APM Studios, the organization's podcast production division. Cumulus Media radio stations and podcasts will now be on the Odyssey digital platform. Cumulus shares rose 3% on the news. A new sports betting podcast network, Green Roll Media, has launched, working with Superbook Sports. If you're podcasting on Anchor in Indonesian, Hebrew, or Yiddish, they're using the wrong language codes, and that's why nobody can find you. They're not using the correct RSS specification. We've full details in our newsletter today if you like that sort of thing. And Melanie Withnall is SCA's new head of news and information, responsible for broadcast and on-demand news. And in podcast news, Pulling the Thread is a new interview series from Odyssey's Cadence 13, which will explore the biggest questions of our time in conversation with cultural luminaries, thought leaders, scientists, theologians, doctors, and others. Etiquette and Manners podcast Were You Raised by Wolves has been chosen as Apple Podcasts' new monthly spotlight. YouTube has released its first podcast, The Upload, The Rise of the Creator Economy. It's a partnership with National Public Media and hosted by Brittany Luce. It launches today on YouTube, and we're promised Spotify, Google Podcasts and Apple Music, rather confusingly. It's a 5-episode series on the creator economy. Facebook knows it's causing harm, but time and again hasn't fixed it, according to a new investigation into Facebook from the Wall Street Journal. The Facebook Files is a series as part of the journal. Every day, New Day wants to find one way to make life a little better. It's a new daily podcast from Lemonada Media and launched this week. Media Roundtable this week features historian and Webby award-winning podcaster Lindsay Graham. We Imagine Us launches today, a groundbreaking podcast and multimedia project to inspire people and communities to envision how they can work together to create a world that's truly equitable for all. There's a live virtual event tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's the latest from our newsletter. For all the links, we're at podnews.net.